You prep your garden beds in the spring, but the reality of growing summer crops like tomatoes and peppers is a 90-day waiting game. For the first 2 months of the season, you are mostly staring at an empty patch of dirt. We can close that gap by combining the spatial organization of the square-foot gardening method with a specific set of fast-growing crops. You can reach your first harvest in under 30 days. To execute this system, you need 5 specific elements. Grab your rich organic compost, physical grid markers like string, 5 precise seed varieties, and 2 distinct types of fertilizer. Getting a yield out of the ground this early provides fresh supplements for your kitchen and builds your momentum as a grower. Because of how we organize the physical space, these crops will finish their life cycle before the larger summer plants ever need the room. Step 1 is preparing the physical structure of the bed. Add a 1-inch top dress of organic compost directly over your bare dirt to instantly improve soil structure and ensure proper drainage. Next, map out the space. Take your string or sticks and divide the entire bed into a rigid 1 by 1 foot grid. Looking at this top-down diagram, you can see how we isolate the bed into 16 individual square-foot zones. By packing our crops into these specific dimensions, the mature plant canopy physically blocks out the sun, starving any potential weed seeds of light. The string enforces a strict mathematical density. It ensures you use the absolute maximum amount of available space. To hit the 30-day timeline, we use 5 specific crops: radishes, arugula, spinach, loose-leaf lettuce, and kale. For the lettuce, you must select loose-leaf varieties. Heading lettuces like iceberg or romaine require significantly more time to form a tight center, which pushes the harvest well past our window. This diagram shows the exact spatial math for radishes. Within a single square foot, you make 16 holes in a 4 by 4 grid, drop in the seeds, and cover them with exactly ½ inch of soil. Looking below the soil line, we see why radishes must be direct sown. They rely on a primary taproot. If you start them in a tray, that root hits the bottom of the cell and deforms. Sown directly into the bed, it can grow straight and unobstructed. Moving over to an adjacent square, the math changes for our leafy greens: lettuce, arugula, spinach, and kale. For these, you plant exactly 4 seeds in a 2 by 2 pattern. When sowing the lettuce, do not bury the seeds. Lettuce seeds require light to trigger germination, so they only need a very light dusting of soil to stay in place. Following these specific planting depths and spacing rules prevents the plants from competing for resources, allowing each square inch to reach its full potential. To maintain this pace, you have to match the fertilizer to the specific output you want to harvest, whether that's a root or a leaf. This diagram breaks down the macronutrients on your fertilizer label. Nitrogen, the first number, drives leaf growth, while phosphorus, the second number, drives root development. Looking at the grid, we apply a high nitrogen fertilizer strictly to the squares containing our 4 leafy greens. For the radish square, we switch to a balanced fertilizer. If you give a radish too much nitrogen, the plant diverts its energy into massive green leaves, leaving you with a tiny, woody root. Selecting nutrients based on the specific crop in each square ensures the plant puts its energy into the parts you actually intend to eat. By day 25, your leafy greens should have formed 5 to 7 mature leaves. Instead of pulling the entire plant out of the dirt, use the cut and come again method. You only snip off the larger, outermost leaves. As you harvest, you must leave the cluster of small, new leaves in the very center of the plant completely untouched. Because the root system is already established, leaving that central growth tip allows the plant to quickly grow new outer foliage, giving you a fresh harvest from the same square every week. By day 30, your 4 by 4 bed is fully packed with a high-density canopy, ready for its first major harvest. This space can also do double duty through intercropping. You can plant these fast crops in the exact same squares where you'll eventually place your slower summer crops, like tomatoes. This timeline shows how the cycles overlap. The radishes finish their 30-day window and are removed from the soil at the same time the neighboring tomato plant begins to expand its canopy into that square. Once a square is empty, practice succession planting. As soon as you pull a mature radish, drop a new seed or a fresh transplant into that same spot. By stacking these growth cycles together, you use the full potential of your soil, making sure that no square is left empty and no part of the spring season is wasted.